Like, I think it's good that I nod a lot because it's like, yeah, I'm listening to you,
Right,
but I
yeah.
notice I like have like major RBF. Like I was not smiling at all. Like every time I would
Oh
look
my
up, I'm like,
God. Just like
so
dead stare.
hello everyone, welcome back to my channel or welcome to my channel if you're new. So chances are you have been studying and figuring out what type of side hustle or freelancing you're gonna do. Maybe you've got your website built up, you're building out your funnels and your processes. But what do you do when somebody finally says, yes, I wanna book a call with you, I wanna hear what you have to say? This is called the discovery call, or what I call the discovery call. There's different names for it. You can call it an intro call, an inquiry, a consultation, whatever the case may be. But I call them discovery calls, and they're really just a good chance for me to get to know the client and vice versa. And I thought what I'd do for this video is do a little bit of a role play and show you what my discovery call process actually looks like, and also explain the framework that I use to structure my calls. The first thing that I like to do is humanize myself. Humanize myself, that basically just means make some small talk, get to know them a little bit. So an example of this is, how's the weather? I know that's really boring and I am an introvert by nature, right? But I have kind of a bank of quick questions that I can always ask clients or kind of conversation starters when I first hop on the call. Because nobody likes to like open up and tell their business struggles to somebody that they don't even know or that they feel like is really cold, right? So how's the weather? Do you have any plans for the weekend? Did you do anything fun over the holiday? How's your week been going? And then share a little bit about your week, maybe a quick highlight. Obviously, you don't want to rant on and on about yourself, but opening up and sharing a little bit about yourself is always fun. And honestly, bonus points if you have like a baby or a dog, because people love to hear about those things. I don't have either of them. So I usually just share something about family or work or whatever the case may be. The second thing is give space to the client to open up to you. So beyond just kind of the superficial stuff, the pleasantries, if you will, you want to allow them the space after that to go ahead and say, here's why I reached out. I'm so glad to hear from you. This is the problem that I think you can solve for us, or this is what my company does. And typically they self-volunteer a lot of this information. So I kind of like to give them that space because I like to understand where my client's head is at before I start probing. I can have my list of questions, but I think sometimes when you ask questions, you're asking questions for the answers you want to hear, if that makes sense. I really want to know where exactly my client or my prospect's head was at when they clicked on book a discovery call. I want to know what their expectations are for the call, for the working relationship, all that, before I kind of inject my ideas of what should happen for them. Then I am curious. So I ask a lot of questions on discovery calls, especially if the client or the prospect rather is not very talkative. It's really kind of a mixed bag for me. Sometimes I'll have people who are like, oh my gosh, like I follow you on YouTube, I know everything about you, and like they have a bunch of questions, or they're very knowledgeable about digital marketing themselves. So they're like, oh, I've heard about this technique, or I've heard about this tool. Have you used this? And they'll be like very talkative. But then I think about 50% of my clients are like very, this is not their wheelhouse. They're CEOs, they're marketing leaders, they're, whatever, they're busy doing other stuff. So in that case, I ask a lot of questions. I ask them how they're currently generating leads and making sales, what their pain points are, what their successes are, in the business. I try to get a really good understanding of what exactly their offer is as well, like what services they're providing, what products they're providing, and what their goals are, like what their business goals are for the year, for the upcoming, maybe 3 months or quarter or whatever the case may be. If they're coming to me for ads, like Facebook ads, I want to know about how much are you spending per month on ads, actually paying Facebook. Like to get a good understanding of all that kind of stuff, because these are all things that are going to factor into my offer for them and into my proposal for them. Then I also go into pain points. This is really part of Curious, kind of a spin-off of being curious, but I go into pain points. So we talked about what you're currently doing, what your services are, what your offers are, but what is your struggle? There's a reason that they reached out to you. They didn't just reach out to you because they're bored. Either they're not seeing the results that they want in their business, or they are working themselves to death essentially, and they're too busy. They don't have time for it. Maybe a team member just left and they have a vacancy in their department. There's some reason why they reached out to you besides, oh, we heard Latasha was great. So I try to really get them to open up about their pain points. Now, again, this is an intro call, so I'm not expecting them to give me the whole story, right? It might be that like one of their marketing managers is really not good at their job. They're probably not going to open up and tell me that on their first call, but digging as much as you can into what really probed them to reach out is a good place to start. Next, I go into the solution. So I say, okay, you just told me that you had all these struggles, your Facebook ads weren't performing, you don't understand the tech behind, the Facebook pixel and getting everything set up correctly. I am an expert at that. I blah, blah, blah. I have a team that can do this. I have all these creative ideas, blah, 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 blah. You go into your solution. You start talking up what you have to offer and really making it sound like the perfect solution for them, because hopefully it is. So I describe that for them. I really kind of paint the picture. I don't like to say I sell it to them, because it's really about a fit. And that's what makes selling easy for me. I used to always think that I was terrible at selling. I'm going to do a full podcast episode about this in the future, but I used to always think I was terrible at selling, but I realized it was just because I wasn't offering the right solutions for the right problems. So if you genuinely have a solution for someone, it's not going to feel like selling. It's just sharing the solution you have for them. Then they will hopefully be like, oh my gosh, sounds awesome. Then I go into the details. I ask them, cool, when are you looking to have a campaign done? What's your budget for the campaign? Who else should be involved in this decision? Should I send this formal proposal over to anyone else? I ask all of those kinds of questions. And yes, I do ask for budget, typically on the discovery call, not always. With all of these things, right? You might skip around. You might not go in this exact order, or there might be things that get missed. But in general, if I'm trying to keep things pretty nice and structured, these are the things that I ask. Now, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. I'm all about leaning into your intuition, using your best judgment. So if it feels really like not the time to talk about budget, then don't do it. But I usually try to get a good range. And if they're serious about getting a service from anyone, not just from you, but from anyone, they should be prepared to talk a little bit about budget. Now, they might just say, I don't know, in which case I have a whole podcast episode that I just did about pricing. I talk about anchor pricing. That's one way that I like to get around that conversation. So I'll link that down below as well. But anyway, ask all the details, and then I really go in for the ask. Now, there's a couple of different ways that this could look. If I'm selling like a coaching package, for example, I do one-on-one mentoring, and that is a set price. Everybody gets the same price. It's one program. I can send them the link while they're on the call to sign up and pay for that. So that's one process. For service-based clients, like social media management clients, a video proposal, if I was doing a website or something like that, I would typically write up a formal proposal that outlines everything we talked about on the call, and that price is going to be dependent on all of those details. So it's not like one set price, like it's $500 per social platform. I don't really do that. Really, for my ask, it might be sharing with them a link and saying, do you want to go ahead and move forward with this coaching package? I'll send you the link right now while we're on the call, or I can send it after the call if that feels more comfortable. Or if it's a service-based client, I will say, great, I'm going to take some time to write up these details into a proposal. I'll have it over to you, within the next day, and then I'll share with them what the next steps are. If that proposal looks good for you, all you got to do is click on the link at the bottom. You'll be taken to the client portal, or give me a call, or send me an email, or whatever it is that you want them to do. And of course, with those proposals, send them quickly. I have templates in Canva that I use to just plop in the data and the numbers and all that stuff. So they shouldn't be taking you too long. Ideally, you'd get it within the same day. I mean, I have had some prospects where it's like so involved. They want, like a year-long campaign or something. Then yeah, that's going to take me a while to work on, but let them know, give them the expectation of this is going to get to you by the end of next week, or whatever the case may be. All right, so that is my process that I follow for discovery calls. I want to take you into a little demo or a little kind of role play that I did with Megan Krepikevich. She is another YouTuber and she has went through my coaching program. I've hired her to work with me. She's a really awesome person and I can totally vouch for her professionalism and all that. So definitely check her out. She has amazing videos too. Like I've been loving her YouTube videos, so check her out. I'll leave her links down below, but she was a true champ and volunteered to do a little role playing with me. So let's go into that and give a little critique for our sales. All right, so Megan is going to pretend to be my client right now. She sent in a discovery form on my website and she's in like the home building kind of industry, but that's all I really know about her. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like we just hopped on our Zoom call and I'll go ahead and kick things off. So, hey, Megan, thanks so much for hopping on the call with me today.
Hi, Latasha. Thank you so much. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, you too. So, how's everything going wherever it is that you are? Where are you located again?
So we're in Calgary, Alberta, so Canada, and
Nice.
it's a struggle. I'm not going to lie. Right now, it's a little bit weird. We're definitely kind of still in lockdown mode. So, but our
Yeah.
new normal. We're finding our new normal.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your business and kind of why you reached out to me.
Yeah, so I'm actually the admin for a home building company, and I've been put in the lovely position of needing to take care of our social media. And to be honest, it's just something that's so outside of my comfort zone. I really don't have a whole lot of knowledge. I know there's a lot of power there, but I have no idea even where to begin. And I'm pretty inundated with work myself. We're working from home a lot, so it's just put a lot of extra pressure on me. And so, yeah, I'm hoping to find a little bit of help from an outside source to kind of get this rolling in the best way.
Okay, cool. So what are you doing right now? Like, how are you actually generating leads for the business? And are you doing anything with social right now, or is this kind of brand new?
It's kind of like if we have something, we throw it up just in the moment. We're really not looking much in terms of like paid advertising. We don't really do much on Facebook. So if we have something, if it comes up in a meeting, then we'll maybe post something and put it on Facebook as well. And then other than that, we've been doing a lot of like door to door type, like the little door hangers.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of traction from that, but obviously we kind of need to come into the digital age a little bit more, and I think we can be doing a lot more than we are. So
For sure. Okay. Do you have like a target in mind of new customers that you'd be ideally getting from social, or are there any major business goals that I should know about?
yeah, so I mean, in terms of target, we are more of like a family first home buyer. That's like our target audience, I guess you would say. Yeah, I guess that would be the main thing, is just reaching those people that are a little bit younger, and we know that they're obviously online. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about kind of how I generally work with clients, and you let me know if this sounds like what you would be looking for. Basically, I can be really as involved or as not involved as you need in your social. So for some of my clients, I'm just doing more like consulting with them. We'll book maybe 4 consulting hours a month, and I'll get together with you and your team. We'll talk about what's coming up in the business, any promos or sales or anything that you have going on, any holidays that we want to work around. And then you guys can take that information and sort of run with it yourselves. But
right,
what it sounds like you're really looking for is, it sounds like you're really busy, which I can totally understand. So I do offer a full service solution where we do have that consulting as well. And I think that's really important to like have that connection with your
hmm,
team so that I'm not just off on an island doing whatever I think makes sense. I need to really
right,
understand the business. Um, but then I'll also be writing the posts. I will be, since you're in Calgary, it would be remote. So I wouldn't be able to actually take photos for you, but I could
right,
either create graphics for you, use stock photos, or give you slash your team some advice on how to take some good quality photos and videos that I can use.
right.
And then
Okay.
I'd actually go ahead and schedule that out onto the platforms for you and kind of handle it all for you, and then just report back on success and see how it goes. So does that kind of sound like what you were looking for?
Yeah, that definitely sounds in line with like what we're needing.
Okay, awesome. So, what I normally do is after this call, I'll just put together a more formal proposal with kind of my recommended next steps, what I think you guys would benefit from, and I'll shoot that over to you by the end of the day.
Okay.
But before I do that, first, I'd love to know, when are you looking to get this started and launched? And also, do you have any idea of what your budget would be for this endeavor?
Yeah, so I mean, the sooner the better. I think, to be honest, if we could be up and rolling in a couple of weeks or within a month, that would be awesome. In terms of a budget, I did speak with our team, and we're hoping to be somewhere in like the $1,200 range for the month.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So I'll put something together based around that.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. You're like the nicest client ever. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how did I do? I
So
have
good.
criticisms for myself,
You
but
do? Oh, no, I think you're so like comforting. I guess like it's just so it's like I don't know. And maybe that's because I know you a little bit, but even with our first call, that's how I felt, where
Mhm.
it was just like you're very open, you seem genuine, like you actually care about what we need.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of like condensed it down a little bit for everyone watching. Obviously, I don't want them to watch
Yeah,
like a 45-minute call.
right,
But I would probably like dig a little bit more when you talked about like door hangers. Like I might ask a
right.
little more about like, oh, like how successful is that? Or,
Yeah,
just like
right.
some just to kind of like warm them up a little bit more so I don't kind of
Yeah.
go right into the sale. But I was gonna say it's funny because like normally I actually do my discovery calls on the phone,
Mm,
or
yeah,
I don't have it in this layout if I am on
right.
Zoom where I can like see my both of us. And I
Yeah,
notice, like, I think it's good that I nod a lot because it's like, yeah, I'm listening to you,
right.
but I
Yeah.
notice I like have like major RBF. Like I was not smiling at all. Like every time I would
Oh
look
my
up, I'm like,
God. Just like
so
dead stare.
and another thing that I thought of as like potential critique for me is, since she's in Canada, she said
Mm,
$1,200 and I didn't
mhm.
confirm, like, is she saying 1,200
Right.
Canadian, 1,200
Yeah, yeah,
US?
yeah.
Because it is
Right.
different.
Hmm.
I think usually, because I do work with quite a few like international clients, usually people are pretty comfortable with like USD as like a standard, like that's
Right.
kind of like the global standard or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always good to confirm because I would hate to
Yeah.
give you like 1,200 USD because that's like
Right.
it's quite significant, the
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah, that would be for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Latasha. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today?
Hey Megan, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So, how are things with you? Whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh,
So
very
it's
cool.
yeah, it's good. We're like coming off of a heat wave. It's finally starting to get like nice weather out.
Oh,
So I'm
that's
excited about
awesome.
that.
So, I noticed that you filled out the online application form. So, I just kind of wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and kind of what you're struggling with, what you think maybe you're looking for help with.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I ran across you on Instagram and I just saw that you gave like a bunch of really good tips and things like that about social. So I thought I'd reach out because you sounded like you knew what you were talking about, and
Oh,
I
thank
do
you.
not. So I own a spa and like wellness business. So we
Hmm.
have retail, like a retail element to our spa, which has kind of been keeping us afloat during
Okay.
COVID and stuff, since
Hmm.
we are very limited in what we can do right now.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm just kind of like struggling with, one, getting that out there into the world that we do offer the retail stuff. And we also do like online consultations for things.
Oh,
And
cool.
like
Good for
there's a
you.
lot of different services we offer.
Hmm.
And so I'm kind of having a hard time messaging that.
Okay.
And I'm also just kind of like having a hard time as the owner of like, I hate social media so much. So
Hmm.
like, I don't want to be on it, but I feel like every business owner is on social media. It's like, do I
Yeah.
need to be like doing tutorials and stuff, or like, I don't know. I just feel really lost.
Yeah, for sure. Well, definitely, I think it's really valuable to be on social media, especially in your specific industry and niche. There's a ton of competition, I'm sure, as you know.
Mhm.
So, really being front of mind and staying on the forefront of people's mind is super important for you. And I do think that anytime you can educate around your product or your services, it holds a lot of value for people, and then it kind of helps create that connection so that when they do decide to make a purchase, that you're the first one that they go to.
Yeah.
So a couple questions on that. You mentioned that you were just having a little bit of difficulty getting that message out there. Do you think that you need more help with like the managing of that social media to help take it off of your plate? Or are you looking for maybe a little bit of help and guidance in terms of how to best get that message across yourself?
I think it's the latter because I do have a team and they're really awesome. Like I
Hmm.
have an admin and I have some people who are really interested in social. We can always
Okay.
hire interns too. So like I'm not really at a shortage of like people able to do the work, but
Right.
as the CEO, like I really need to be driving that message. And if I
Hmm.
don't tell them what to do, they're just going to like post cute pictures of like product and
Right.
stuff. Like they're not really,
Okay.
I don't know, they're not really thinking strategically about the business goals.
Hmm.
No offense to them. It's like it's my job. I have to drive
Right.
that. And I just don't really know how. Like I don't
Okay.
know what I don't know what our core message is, you know? Like I
Yeah.
don't know what
Yeah.
our story really is
Right.
that we should share.
Okay. Okay. So I have a couple different options that might be beneficial to you. So I do one-on-one consulting sessions where we hop on a call like this and just really go through whatever is like most of importance or what you're struggling with most at that time. And then I do have another option which might be a little bit more beneficial for what you're needing. So it's an 8-week program. We have calls every 2 weeks. You have unlimited text access to me. And really we start from like the basis of like who you are, what are your main pillars that you want to be speaking about, how can we then, create content around that. And I'm really like hands-on with you and looking over your content and giving you that feedback
Okay.
back. So yeah, I think those would be kind of most in line with your needs.
I guess my main question is like, so what's the difference between the program and if I were to just say, yeah, let's hop on like a call, what would be the difference between
Mhm.
that?
So with my program, you do get a full booklet that would go through kind of the basic steps of branding and really getting clear on your brand messaging, who your target market is. You'll also get free access to my online course. So it's like a social media 101. So it goes really in depth into hashtag strategy and a lot of those things that are really important and that can take a long time to kind of gather all of that information. So that gives you the ability to go through the course, which will generally give you a bunch of questions that we can then go over in more depth. And really having that hands-on access to me and being able to ask questions. If something comes up throughout the day, you can literally fire off a text and I'll be there to help you out every day. So
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. That sounds good. So what do
yeah.
we do? Like, how do we get started?
Awesome. So what I'll do is I will send you over the debrief that goes through the whole program, what the pricing looks like, and our intake form, or sorry, our onboarding process. And you can have a look over that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to hop on a call and review that. And otherwise, it will have the link to get started and we can get going as soon as you're ready.
Okay, awesome. And I'm guessing there's like pricing and payment details and stuff in that debrief that you're going to send me.
Yeah, so my 8-week program is $700 Canadian for
Okay.
the 2 months. So I have payment options if you wanted to split that up into two different payments, or we can do it all one lump sum, whatever works best for you. And yeah, that would get you access to me immediately upon payment. Then you have that one-on-one access as soon as we get started.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll look out for your email and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Sounds great. I will chat with you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks. Bye.
I thought that was really great. I
I
really
get
only have,
awkward about pricing, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I really only have, that was like my only piece of feedback, really.
Hmm.
Is, it's not, I don't think you were awkward about it. I think that was perfect. I think I loved how you had like the debrief. Like I've never heard it called that. That sounds so official. I'm always like, yeah, I'll shoot you over an email. Like it's so like casual. So I like that. Um, but I think I guess it's more of a tip for you than like feedback is I noticed you went right into, I can split that up and
Mm.
they give the payment options. And
Mhm.
especially for something like $700 is an investment, but it's not, it's not a $7,000
Right.
program like some of
Mhm.
these programs are. I say just say it's $700.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I've recently kind of shifted to this. Like I used to even have on my website, like payment plans are available, things like
Mhm.
that. And I've removed that.
Okay.
And I notice what it's done is it's helped like the quality leads that come in are higher because I get less of that like casual, like
Right.
maybe I'm interested. I do have a hundred
Yeah.
dollars to invest now. Like they're way more like committed to it. And yeah, just if somebody really needs it, they'll ask. Like if
Right.
somebody really
Yeah.
wants to work with you, they'll and they're like, I just don't have the budget right now, they'll
Right.
ask and you'll figure
Yes.
something out. So I
Okay.
still offer it if people ask, and I also think it kind of like makes you more confident. It makes you
Mhm.
appear more confident in your offer. Like if you're like,
Right.
yeah, this is worth $700 at
Mhm.
least,
Mhm.
as opposed to like, you know, it's worth like 700, but like there's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
caveat to it, you know? All right, everyone. I hope that that was really helpful seeing this kind of discovery call process in action. Again, thank you so much to Megan for joining me for the call. I'm going to link her channel down below. Definitely go check her out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I post videos every single Monday and Friday about social media, freelancing, entrepreneurship, something of that nature. I'll be back on Friday with a podcast episode. And until then, I'll see you around. Bye.